Hello hair growers and welcome back for another video. My name's Thomas if you're brand new here, and I'm not gonna say what I usually say. I make stolen hair related videos every single week, okay? Before we get started, please make sure you hit the like button and leave me a comment because it really helps me in the YouTube algorithm and grow this hair growth community that I'm growing. In today's video, I'm gonna be talking about 4 practical hair loss solutions for men. The reason I'm doing this, I know I've said this before in another hair loss video that I did. I know a lot of these things that when I talk about hair loss don't actually relate to you at this time, but I always reiterate that, you know, more than 50% of us are gonna suffer from hair loss before we're 50. And what I've found in my research of doing this channel and everything hair related is it's actually something you can reverse, prevent, and do something about if you get to it quick enough. And the one thing that I noticed in the market is not a lot of people are talking about hair loss and what to do if it happens to you. So the only reason I make content like this repetitively is because I need to get the message out there, because hair is really important to me. And obviously if you guys watch my videos, it's important to you as well. So although this information might not relate to you now, it's good to take in because later it very well might, okay? Now, in addition to this video as well, I do have a blog post over on the Man Buns and Mains website that covers everything that I'm gonna be talking about in this video today. But the first part is just having a little bit of a better understanding as to why hair loss happens. I'm not gonna go too in-depth with this. I'm just gonna keep it very short and simple. But essentially, hair loss is mainly, the most common cause of it is called male pattern baldness. Now, male pattern baldness is caused from a hormone called DHT, which is also known as dihydrotestosterone, which is, never mind how it's created. You can do more research on that by clicking the link on the blog post. But essentially, this hormone is very sensitive to the front of the hairline and the crown. And this is why we see men who are balding, you know, with a receding hairline, or they get that weird donut shape at the back of their head when they first start. That is DHT working its shitty black magic and ruining the hair follicles in those areas. And essentially what you need to do is work out how you're gonna stop the DHT, then figure out what stage of hair loss you're at, and then figure out the best solution, okay? So that's a brief overview. There is more about it over on that blog post that I've put on the Man Buns and Maids website. So go and check that out if you wanna learn more about DHT. Okay, now let's move on to my solutions. So solution number 1 is low-level laser therapy. Now, does low-level laser therapy completely get rid of DHT? No, it doesn't. It does help though, kind of counteract it a little bit, because although low-level laser therapy doesn't treat DHT specifically or treat the hormone in your body, what it does is it sends light energy to the hair follicle, right? Or the bulb where your hair actually gets blood from your scalp, and that's what makes it grow really nice and healthy. And what DHT does is when it wraps itself around the follicle, is it starts strangling that follicle. And when we use low-level laser therapy, the light energy keeps the cell active. So the DHT is trying to strangle it, but the laser therapy is actually opening it again and getting more blood flow in there. So it can help defy DHT. However, if you stopped using laser therapy and you had DHT problems, the DHT would take back over again and ruin everything. What people usually do, this isn't recommended for everyone, and I would strongly talk to a doctor about this, but a lot of people use a thing called finasteride, which is a medication that it was actually intended for prostate cancer patients to help them with their prostates. And what they noticed is they were giving it to all these old men, and all of a sudden, all these old men were growing all their hair back. And they're like, what the hell? Yeah, finasteride, the drug, is, well, medication. I don't like calling it a drug. Well, it is a drug. Let's not lie to ourselves, okay? This drug helps decrease the DHT production in your body. I used to live with a guy, he was my landlord, and he was struggling with hair loss really badly. And he actually made a trip to Ashley and Martin, which they're a hair loss clinic, and he said that he paid thousands of dollars to get given information that he could have just gone to his GP and gotten. Now, this is what really makes me a little bit cranky, is there's clinics out there doing this kind of thing when all the information's actually already available. You know what I mean? This is what I mean. If you do your research and actually ask professionals outside of hair clinics that can give you free advice, you can actually come to the same conclusion. So he was actually on finasteride, and hair loss clinics also do provide people or guys with these combs. They're a low-level laser therapy comb, very similar to the Iris product that I did an unboxing for. And these two things together can work really well. However, if medication's not really something that you're wanting to do, trying, low-level laser therapy, if you're at low to moderate hair loss, along with maybe a DHT blocking shampoo and DHT blocking vitamins, which you can also get from Iris, you can get really significant results. It's just something that takes time, and as soon as you see hair loss problems happening, to benefit from this type of thing, like low-level laser therapy, you really do need to get on it as early as possible, because you've got a certain amount of time from when DHT starts screwing up your follicles and strangling them to when the follicle actually dies off. In that time, it's crucial to start treating it so the hair can come back. So yeah, that's hair loss solution number 1. A lot of information about low-level laser therapy is available on that blog post on Man Buns and Mains. Practical hair loss solution number 2 is hair implants. Now, I found these very, very interesting, and they're actually probably the most fascinating hair loss solution I've ever come across or even seen work in the flesh. I've actually known somebody, again, my landlord that I used to live with, on top of getting his laser therapy and using finasteride, he actually went and got hair implants and let me document the entire process. Now, I'm so grateful that he let me do that, because when he went and got the implants done, you'll be seeing all the photos here right now. I'll let him know that he can go and look at the blog post for the pictures. First, they got his DHT levels under control using low-level laser therapy and the finasteride. So the scalp was no longer infected with DHT. And what they did is they took hair follicles from the back of his head, like so, and then they implanted them on his receding hairline where it had, come back a little bit. And I caught up with him a few weeks ago, and when I was looking at him, like, far out, you look so much younger. And then I realized, holy hell, it's been 1 year since I took the pictures of your implants getting done, and now when I look at it, his hairline looks so much fuller and so different that I almost had to double take. And then while I was there hanging out with him, I was like, oh my God, you have to let me get these after shots, because this is what's gonna help me complete my blog post. So he let me get the photos, and this is what his hairline used to look like just when the implants got put in. Like, there was nearly no hair there. And then this is what it looks like 1 year later. And because he got all of the DHT under control, his implants were a massive success. And then if you have a look at this picture, this is where they took the implants from. And then this is also a year later after they had healed up. And you can barely tell that any follicles had been taken from the spot whatsoever. So this is a really impressive sort of procedure that can get done. People also use this for hairline lowering. So I could use it on my crooked hairline, to be honest. They can take some hairs from the back of my head, implant them all in here so it becomes a straight line. Something I would consider, but I'm not too worried about my hairline at this point in time. It's just a very, very cool thing that guys struggling with hair loss can get done. And it looks fantastic, because I saw it in the flesh and I was like, that is incredible. Just because I had seen the whole process happen. So I was very wowed by that. It's definitely a possibility for any of you that are struggling with receding hairlines. I don't think hair implants are suitable for the crown. I think the crown is a little bit too sensitive. And also, guys that are in severe stages of hair loss, it's probably not something that's gonna work for you, because if you think about the amount of hair they have to take, I mean, just for the little edges of his hair, they had to take a lot off the back, if you have a look at that photo. Yeah, very interesting to watch, but it's definitely a solution, and provided you get on top of it early enough, then yeah, all can happen really well, and you can recover really, really well from it. Just get that DHT under control. Okie dokie, now moving on to practical hair loss solution number 3. So hair loss solution number 3 is a hairpiece, or a toupee if you like. Now these are for men that are in severe stages of hair loss, that are almost at the point where it's been irreversible. The DHT's been hanging around the scalp for too long. It's killed predominantly all the follicles that are from here to here, and you need a solution, and you aren't really ready to be bald yet. Like, a lot of guys go, fuck it, I can't be bothered worrying about this, so I'm just going to shave my whole head and deal with it. Some guys that aren't ready to do that, kind of like Brandon, my friend that came and did that interview, we did a video not long ago about his toupee or his hairpiece, how he applies it, how much they cost, where you can get them from, how they can make you feel, and how realistic they look as well. Like, it was a really, really cool experience to quiz him about that. It is a solution for those guys that aren't ready to be bald yet, and I would strongly recommend you go and check out that video if a toupee, or even if you're not ready to be bald and you still think, oh, how could I wear a toupee? You'd be pleasantly surprised at how realistic they can look, and that video could inspire you to use that as a solution. I would probably only recommend those for people that have got the severe hair loss, but if you ever get to that stage, it's an option, okay? And it looks great. And now for practical hair loss solution number 4. This one's actually pretty interesting as well. Funny enough, my old landlord, who had the hair implants, used the laser therapy and the finasteride, also had this done, because not only did he have a receding hairline, but he also had the bald spot on the back. So the little donut started happening on his head. And this is how I know that the hair implants can't go on the crown, because he initially wanted that, but they wouldn't do it because it was too sensitive. But the other solution to this is a thing called micropigmentation. They just tattoo dots on your scalp, and what it does is give the appearance of more hair being there. So for him, he wasn't at a chronic stage of hair loss, you know, like receding hairline a little bit of a bald spot. And what it does is it fills in the spaces, or where you can see the scalp, even in between hair that has already thinned out. If you get the micropigmentation, what it does is, instead of the scalp color being so harsh, shining through the hair, it actually helps it all blend in to make it look like there is more hair on the head than there actually is. It's like an illusion. It's very, very cool. And when you look at it with his implants, along with taking the finasteride, and it's all growing back nice and healthy, then you see the micropigmentation, which you can't actually really see at all. It just looks bloody fantastic. Not only did he get the micropigmentation, I also do know Ken Fryer. Ken Fryer is a Facebook group member. He also works with Watermans. So I've known Ken for a while now, and we actually connected a while ago about his book that he created. He actually created a book called Men's Guide to Hair Growth, and it actually contains all of these practical solutions that I mentioned in this video, plus like, I think about 14 more. Like, he covers so many in there. And what Ken struggled with was, he struggled with balding at a really, really early age. I think in his very early 20s, he went nearly completely bald, and micropigmentation is what he says saved his confidence. So here are some of the images as well. This is what Ken looked like before, and this is what Ken looked like after the micropigmentation. Now, Ken always looks bald, but if you look at the micropigmentation, it actually gives the illusion that he's got a full hairline and is bald by choice. And what this does, well, when he was explaining it in his book, it's more about the confidence of feeling like, I don't like saying this, but like feeling more normal, right? Because what I gather is, from what I've read and seen and people that I've spoken to, is when we go through these stages of hair loss, it can make us feel a bit alienated and separate, and, oh, something's wrong with me. But something like this can really help rebuild that. So you're not always worrying about like, oh, are people looking at me funny? Do you know what I mean? It was a really good read, his book was, especially hearing about his story. And what he does now is, not only is he working with Watermans, they create that hair growth shampoo that I used during my hair growth journey, but they also have a DHT blocker in their shampoo, which can help with blocking DHT in the scalp, ironically. And what Ken's doing now is actually helping guys who are experiencing severe hair loss figure out, you know, what's causing it, what the best solution is at their stage, and then helping them go and find solutions for it and actually act on it. Because that's one big thing that's missing in this industry, is like, a lot of men know they have it, but they're not acting and they don't know enough about it. But yeah, micropigmentation is a very interesting one. It can work for both people that have got severe hair loss, and it can also work for people who have got thinning or bald patches, to help fill in those spaces and disguise it more. And in both cases of people that I know that have had it, their confidence has lifted through the roof. And yeah, it's definitely something worth looking into, depending on what stage of hair loss you're at. It's also good for guys that, you know, just have thin hair in general and you can see your scalp. If you want to fill that in a little bit and you're not actually struggling with hair loss or DHT problems, you can go and get this micropigmentation to fill those gaps in, so it just looks like you have more hair. So yeah, that's just the bit of information that I wanted to bring you. Hair loss is definitely not spoken about enough, so that's why I know this isn't going to appeal to everyone either, and it's probably going to affect my ratings on the algorithm, but you know what, I don't care, because it's really good information, and I think the more of you that know about it before it happens to you, the better. And there's always a solution. You just got to act straight away. Okay? And that's all I have for you in this video. If you want to check out Ken's book, there is a link to that as well over on the blog post. It's a very good read. I can strongly recommend that you go and read it. Even if you're not struggling with hair loss right now, just because of the amount of stuff I learnt in that book, and then the amount of people that I saw, like I just see it everywhere now. I'm kind of like, hey, I know that. And if I ever go through it myself, I'm gonna be ready to combat it. So here's to us, knowing more. Thank you so much for coming and watching this video. Please smash that like button if you can, and leave me a comment just to help me out with the algorithm, because I'm really trying to grow this community and I would really appreciate it, okay? Because it helps me make more good content. Until my next video, I'll see you then, and ciao for now.